Hello everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, and another one in the series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full body of work of The Doors. And today we have arrived at their third album, Waiting for the Sun, which was recorded over a period in 1967 and 1968 and was released in 1968. I believe the summer of 1968. Well, John Densmore, the drummer of The Doors, said about this record later on that it suffered from the so called third album syndrome, which is a nod to the second album syndrome, which artists usually talk about because the first album is a collection of the stuff you've been writing years before that record, so that record is the best of years of writing. And then the second album comes, and you gotta come up with new material. But the first two Doors albums actually used the songs they used to play live. Both are about half an hour, so you got 1 hour of great Doors songs spread over two records. Now they were busy touring and had to go into the studio and work on new material. Most of the lyrics written by Jim Morrison were already used for the first two albums, so there was tension. What were they going to come up with? Also, things had changed for the Doors. Their producer, Paul Rothchild, became much more of a perfectionist and wanted to get everything out of the studio and the quality of the recording. And on the other end, Jim Morrison had a tough time working on his alcohol issues. There was a journalist that wrote an article while attending a studio session for the Doors, and she wrote in the article that it was basically a day of annoyed musicians waiting for their drunk Jim Morrison to show up. There is a story about the recording of 5 to 1 that Morrison was supposedly so drunk that technicians in the room had to keep him standing up so he could do a take. Also, the perfectionism of Paul Rothchild I mentioned earlier, that was also very tough for the band members because most of the songs needed at least 20 takes to record. And it does things to this record. This record does not have the spontaneity of the first two albums. And that's why a lot of people say it's not among their best. My conclusion after listening to this is, well, not their best is still some of the best of the time because this record is pretty pretty solid. It might have a little bit more fillers than the other two, but I mean, let me talk you through the set list. Opening side one with "Hello, I Love You." I just love the melody on that song, which, by the way, they had a case for because I believe it was Dave Davies of the Kings who said, "Yeah, but that hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name?" is actually all of the day and all of the night by the Kings. So it went to a court in the UK. And as a matter of fact, it was ruled in the favor of Dave Davies. So part of whenever you hear the song in the UK on the radio, it's not only the Doors making money, it's also Dave Davies making money. And honestly, yeah, that line is pretty similar. In their defense, they said that it was inspired by a Cream song, I believe, "Strange Brew" or "Sunshine on Your of Your Love." Not so sure about which one, but there, it doesn't really resemble that. Perhaps the attitude has some connotation, but it was not a pretty good defense. But after "Hello, I Love You," you get "Love Street." I really like the chill and the calm on "Love Street." It's a good song. "Not to Touch the Earth," "Summer's Almost Gone," and "Wintertime Love," which are okay. No, it's okay. It doesn't. These are not bangers, but they do not get the flow out of the record. You know, it's nice. It's enjoyable. Then we come to, for me, the Doors highlight at side one, "The Unknown Soldier." Why "The Unknown Soldier"? I really love the narrative they're exploring there, the sound effects telling a story there. I think these are very worthy lyrics of Jim Morrison, stepping outside of his own perspective to tell the story of someone else, somebody being executed in war. Really awesome. Also, if you're wondering why am I holding this specific edition of the record, it's the only one I got. I've been looking for a first US one. I found one a while ago for about $30. I thought I'd take it with me. Next time I will, because they are not so easy to find, the first US ones. But I always enjoyed the sound of this. While I thought, oh, this is just a easy version. It's I believe it's an anniversary reissue by Rhino. It's from 2018. But I always enjoyed the sound of the vinyl in here. Though I just assumed, because it's not an audiophile pressing, that I assumed that it was not something they took great care of. But constantly, whenever I got back, this sounds really good. Then I checked the dead wax, and it's actually mastered by Bernie Gruntman. And if you're curious about Bernie Gruntman, here's a video. He is one of the best mastering engineers, and I'll tell you all about Bernie Gruntman here. But it sounds good. It sounds really good, this one. So I will find another pressing, but until that time, I'm very happy with this. This record also got some CDs with live performances. I still should listen to those. I'm not so much of a CD guy. Love the vinyl though. Side 2, Spanish Caravan. Love that song. Spanish Caravan. I like the melodies that Jim Morrison is encountering here. There's a lighter tone to the record in a certain way, and honestly, I would not say that specifically Jim Morrison would be an issue during this production, because he sounds light, has a rather clear voice here. It's good. Yeah, 5-1 is more aggressive, which is the end of the record. But it's good, and there are so many good Door songs here. We could be so good together. I love that. This is a very good album. I think it suffered from the third album syndrome, in a sense that, did it affect the songwriting? It's good songwriting. They are pretty good having to write new material for a new album. It perhaps suffered more in a way that the first two are brilliant. How do you overcome two brilliant first albums? Not a lot of bands have that. Well, Black Sabbath overcame it by completely developing their direction. That's not what the Doors are doing here. Although their production sound is a lot better, but the step that Black Sabbath took with their third album is just mesmerizing, while the first two remain also mesmerizing in their own ways. So, yeah, my consensus is it's a great record. It really is a great, great album. Nothing to be ashamed of, something to admire, and if anyone would reach these heights, they would be happy. But we're talking about the Doors. They have a collection of mesmerizing records. But as third in the list, just really, really awesome. And I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.